Hi guys, this is Sarah for How We Learn. I wanted to pop on today to talk to you a little bit about child-led learning. I've shared with you kind of how we do our homeschool. We do core skills in the morning using our file folder, which takes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on my child and the day. And then in the afternoon, we dive into unit studies, and we usually do that for about an hour, sometimes 2 hours. So you add that up and that's about 3 hours out of our day, and my kids are awake, of course, for 13, 14 hours of the day. So I wanted to share with you what we do for the remainder of our day. We do lots and lots and lots of child-led learning. I created a free ebook about this topic, and I'll be sure to link below so that you can grab yourself a copy and know all there is to know about child-led learning. So the idea for child-led learning is that you simply follow your child's lead and you let them explore and create and do amazing, wonderful things. When I first started this, I was struggling though, because my kids didn't really do a lot of wonderful, amazing things all on their own. They kind of were super bored and were stuck. They were just bored and pestering each other, and it wasn't as magical at all as I thought it would be. So I researched a little more and found out that that you can do this idea that's called strewing. I can't remember who's credited for it originally, but I learned about it through the Brave Writer. And it's this idea that you take a cool thing or an interesting thing and you just kind of leave it out where your children are gonna see it and explore it and be curious about it. I sometimes when my kids get in a bit of a state where they're bored or they're kind of stuck in the mundane and they're needing a little bit of something different, I'll pop it on the kitchen table. So when they wake up in the morning, they're like, oh, what's that? And just a little spark to kind of get them set and excited to learn something new. Okay, so a few different ideas, what to put on that kitchen table to get them excited about learning something new or doing something different. The book that I wrote has 20 ideas. I'll share a couple of those with you right now, some that are the biggest hit for my little ones. Popsicle sticks and hot glue. So I went to Amazon and invested, I think like $20 worth of popsicle sticks, and I tell you, you can get a ton of popsicle sticks for $20. And then the hot glue refills, best money I ever spent, because my kids will do this for hours and hours, and there's so much learning that takes place as they're doing these things. They're building math skills and spatial skills and problem solving, creative thinking. It's amazing the learning that comes from doing these projects. So my little guy just did this, this awesome creation. He just completed this a few weeks ago, so I wanted to share this one with you. There was so much problem solving and learning that took place as he built this cool creation. So this is for some of his guys. He wanted them to have like a clubhouse. So you can see all the detail and the time. He even used like one of the actual hot glue sticks to hold it up. He melted the top and the bottom and stuck it in. So much problem solving and creativity that goes into this. So that just, of course, had hot glue and popsicle sticks and set out on the table. When you are trying to get them interested in doing something, sometimes it's beneficial to kind of create something little yourself first to let them see, oh, maybe I could start by making something like Mom made. Or depending on your child, sometimes it's better to just leave a completely blank canvas and let them explore all on their own. And you'll get to see kind of what your child prefers as you go. A second fun idea is sewing. So we have felt squares, or we also will get from the thrift store like old clothing and things and just chop them up into squares of fabric and put that on the table with some needles and thread. And often I'll pop on YouTube and look for like simple sewing tutorials for kids. And my kids have made like different stuffed animals and gnomes. So we got these little wooden gnomes, and they have just been loving sewing like little cloaks and like a bell on the hat, and they're so cute. So just adding in the gnomes took their sewing to a whole new level, and it's amazing what they have come up with and that they're creative with and creating all on their own, just by kind of having that prompt there, that they all of a sudden got excited into the idea of learning about sewing. They've also made like little bags, and it's great especially at Christmas time or any time when there's like a birthday or something coming up, to get that out, to get them thinking about, ooh, what can I make to gift to somebody when it's their birthday or Christmas. Okay, I have my cheat sheet over here, that's why I keep looking over here. Learn to draw books or YouTube videos. So we will pop out if my kids all of a sudden show an interest in a certain TV character or video game guy, or my little boy loves cats. So I got like a learn to draw Pokemon book or learn to draw cat book, and just kind of leave that out. And especially if I the night before kind of start a sketch as if I'm doing it for myself, then they all of a sudden, whenever I'm doing, they're so invested because they don't see it as like schoolwork, they see it as just an interest, and then they want to be a part of that interest also. So then they'll try to create something. Often my little one will say, hey, can I finish this, the picture that I started? And he'll kind of try to finish up what I started and created. So learn to draw books and learn to draw on YouTube are lots and lots and lots of fun for kids to kind of spark that interest for them. Okay, another idea is an Inventor's bin. So we have one of those big water tables that we keep outside in the summer, and in the winter I brought it inside and filled it up with like, it was like the biggest junk drawer you've ever seen. So it had like popsicle sticks and hot glue, glue sticks, normal glue, little like clippy things, the chip clips. I kind of went to the dollar store and pulled off anything from the shelves, like from the kitchen area, not just the craft section, but kind of I went through all of the aisles and pulled off anything that I thought looked cool that could be used in invention. So you know those like they're like on a retractable string for, I think they're for like security badges and things. So they had those, so I got a pack of those. Those were a huge hit. The kids were making all sorts of creations like zip lines and really cool things with those. Magnets are fun. So again, be sure that you're recognizing the age of your children, of course, and safety. But at that time, we didn't have little Nora when we were really into this Inventor's bin idea. So the boys had so much fun inventing and playing with this water table, huge creation of the Inventor's bin. And every so often I'll do it kind of on a smaller scale, and I'll empty out our junk drawer or like little bread tags, any cool things that I've kind of been saving, and I'll pop them in a box and pop them on the kitchen table to kind of spark that child-led learning about something, and then they'll explore and create all on their own. Playing in the sink or in the bathtub. Let those everyday experiences just kind of, you try not to rush through things. So when you're washing the dishes, let your little one help you, let them explore, let them play, get out the measuring cups, and they'll learn all about fractions all on their own, measuring with the different measuring cups and bowls. How much does a quarter cup fill up? How much does half a cup fill up? Oh, 2 quarter cups, that's the same as one of the half cups. I was amazed when I was baking with my now 10-year-old when he was really little, like 5 or so, and we were doubling a recipe, and I was absolutely amazed at what he was able to double. And I swear it's just because we used to play in the sink with the measuring cups. So he would know like, what, okay, this calls for 3/4 of a cup, but we're doubling it. And he's like, oh, so it's a cup and a half. Just like that. It's amazing what kids can do. And again, that was not through rigorous mathematical learning. It was just through playing in the sink or the bathtub with measuring cups. So kind of take your time with everyday experiences as well, and let your little one really immerse themselves in it and play. So you can get out little like squirters and syringes, the turkey baster, spoons, lots of different things in the sink or the bathtub. Great way to play. Calculators, kids love calculators. So grabbing out, again, dollar store is my best friend. So I'll get all different types of calculators from the dollar store, or if you have any on hand, and just pop them out. And your little one will be starting to ask you all these different questions about what buttons are and what does it mean. They'll be exploring and playing with adding and subtracting and multiplying and seeing how the numbers get bigger and how the numbers get smaller. So much natural math learning will happen just through exploring and playing with different calculators. And getting out globes or maps or like a GPS either on your phone, or if you have one in your car, and letting your little one hold that and pop it in as you're going familiar routes. Just load it up so that they get used to seeing the idea of following a map and following directions, pulling out or printing off cool maps from the computer if you're going on a day trip somewhere, or you're going on a road trip, anything like that, to have that map in front so you can show where we are and where we're going. Or if a friend is moving or a friend's going on a trip, just take those opportunities to get maps out and let your child see. Because any of these things that I'm sharing might just be the spark that your child needs when they're like, oh, that's actually really cool. I love learning about maps. I want to learn more and more about maps. And then you get atlases up from the library, and you're just that little introduction. I like to think of myself as an introducer of things to my kids. So I'll introduce them to as much as I possibly can. And 99% of it is just going to be that simple introduction. But once in a while, there'll be something that they're like, all of a sudden they adore. So my Sammy loves sewing, or he loves knitting. And it's like, if he hadn't been introduced to that, then he would have never known, of course, that that's a passion of his, and he has an immense talent for it also. So again, it's just kind of introducing your kids to these things and see if they like it or not. I think that's also why I really love unit studies, because it lets me introduce them to such a huge breadth of information, and then they can kind of see, like, you can see the wheels turning and see the sparks, but what they're really into and what not so much. So it's really cool. Like, I know the human body, I find that so cool. And I love doing our unit study in the human body, but I would be shocked if either of my boys became doctors, because they just really not into it. Like, even the gross stuff, they were certainly not into at all. They don't like that stuff. But anything that even wasn't gross, but just fascinating, I was like, isn't that amazing? And they're like, yeah, cool. Like, you could just see that it wasn't there. They weren't really into it. And again, maybe they're just not into it at this age. And when they're introduced to it again later, maybe then it will really take off. So I shouldn't say they're not going to be doctors. But right now, if I had to predict, I wouldn't put them in that profession. Okay, finally, books. So make the library, the dollar store is my best friend, but really try to make the library your best friend. Go every week if you can and get out as many books as you can on different topics, different subjects, different things that you think that they might be interested in, or even like video game characters or anything. Like, try to really reach them where they are now. So if they're really into some sort of a video game or a TV show, that's great, that's fine. Anything that brings them joy, right? So then you just kind of try to play off of that and see, okay, like, are there any books about that video game? Or that took place, maybe it takes place in a different country, that video game. So you can kind of use that and be like, hey, do you want to learn about Japan, or do you want to learn about China, or do you want to learn about Australia? And just sort of try to like broaden the topic that they're really interested in that moment, to get all the learning you can out from it. So that's what I wanted to share today, was just this idea of child-led learning. And a lot of it really comes down to trust, I found as well, really trusting our children, which is a tricky thing to do. I mean, I'm a teacher by trade. I've taught in the classroom for many, many years. And it's tricky to think like, but if I don't educate them, if they don't go through this rigorous, like, first you learn this, now you learn this, now you learn that. If they don't do that, then it's a little bit frightening to think, are they going to have this knowledge that they really need for the future? But as my children are getting older, and they of course have the core skills, because we do still do that. We're not full unschoolers by any means. But as they're getting older, I'm seeing that they have all this knowledge about all these different topics and things. And it's like, in my mind, that's so much more valuable than being able to regurgitate certain facts and information it's all available at the touch of a button. What we really need is like critical thinkers and problem solvers who know the information they're getting, whether it's true or not, and how to kind of discern that. But that's a whole other video. So anyways, that was what I wanted to share today. A few ideas to spark some interest and ignite some passion for learning with you and your little ones at home. Thanks for watching. Bye.